All right, let's dive into one of the most legendary mysteries ever told, the Hound of the Baskervilles. We're talking about a deadly family curse, a desolate, fog-covered moor, and this epic battle between cold, hard logic and pure, terrifying superstition.
And that quote, it just nails it, doesn't it? The solution to the mystery is brilliant, of course, but the real power of this story comes from the atmosphere. It's that eerie, dangerous moor, where every shadow, every strange sound just pushes reason to its absolute limit.
Okay, so let's get into the investigation. It all kicks off with Dr. Watson, who's been sent to protect the new heir, Sir Henry Baskerville. But from the second he sets foot in the gloomy old Baskerville Hall, the mysteries just start piling up, starting right inside its own walls.
So one of the very first things Watson clocks is the butler, Barrymore. He's acting weird. Watson catches him late at night, sneaking over to a window and holding up a candle, like he's sending a signal to someone out there in the total blackness of the moor.
Now, your first thought has to be, this is it, right? Is Barrymore in on the plot? Is he talking to the enemy, luring Sir Henry into some kind of trap? For Watson, who's surrounded by all this dread and local legend, the butler immediately becomes suspect number one.
But the truth turns out to be a lot more mundane and actually kind of sad. The Barrymores aren't villains at all. They've been secretly sneaking food out to Mrs. Barrymore's brother, who's an escaped convict hiding out on the moor. So it's not a diabolical plot, just a family drama.
Okay, so the next mystery comes flying in, this time from a neighbor, a woman named Beryl Stapleton. She bumps into Watson, thinks he's Sir Henry, and she just panics. She frantically warns him to leave the moor immediately and never, ever come back. But before she can say why, her brother shows up, and her whole attitude just changes in an instant.
And this is what's so suspicious, right? The contrast between these two is just off. You've got Mr. Stapleton, this charming, super smart naturalist who's obsessed with the area, and then you have his supposed sister, Beryl, who's the total opposite. She's clearly terrified of something and trying to send these secret warnings. The whole dynamic just feels wrong.
So, with all these questions piling up inside the hall, the real terror starts to move out onto the moor itself. And two things happen that just ramp up the dread to a whole new level. A sound that's not quite human, and a silent, mysterious observer.
More than once, Watson and Sir Henry hear this sound echoing across the wasteland at night. It's this low, awful baying noise that the locals are convinced is the ghost hound. I mean, it's a sound that's literally designed to bypass your logical brain and go straight for pure primal fear.
And as if a phantom dog wasn't enough to deal with, Watson finds out he's not the only one doing some observing. He learns that a mysterious man has been seen living out in one of the old stone huts on the hills, a lone figure who just seems to be watching Baskerville Hall. Could this be the same man who was tailing Sir Henry back in London?
The tension finally snaps with a really shocking discovery. They find a body at the bottom of a cliff, and for one absolutely horrifying moment, Watson is convinced it's Sir Henry, because the man is wearing a suit of his old clothes.
Turns out the body is actually the convict, Selden. The Barrymores had given him the old clothes. But this changes everything. It means Selden was mistaken for Sir Henry. This wasn't an accident. He was hunted. The question is, by what or by whom?
Just as the case gets to its darkest, most confusing point, everything is about to get turned upside down. The whole investigation is about to get a massive, completely unexpected dose of pure, cold reason.
You guessed it, the mysterious watcher on the moor? It was Sherlock Holmes himself. The whole time, he wasn't in London. He was right there, living rough, running his own secret investigation so he could observe everything without anyone knowing he was there.
And from his hidden spot, Holmes has put all the pieces together. His logic points to only one person, the friendly, butterfly-chasing neighbor, Mr. Stapleton. He's the real villain of the story.
And Holmes just lays it all out. Beryl isn't Stapleton's sister, she's his abused wife, forced to go along with his scheme. And Stapleton himself? He's a long-lost Baskerville, next in line to inherit the entire fortune. His method is just diabolically clever. Use the local ghost story and a very real, very savage dog to literally scare his relatives to death.
But, a theory isn't proof. To catch Stapleton red-handed, Holmes has to expose him in the act, so he comes up with this incredibly dangerous plan. One final gamble out on the moor to force the monster, both the human one and the animal one, out into the open.
So the plan is simple, but wow, is it risky. Sir Henry is going to have dinner with the Stapletons, then walk home all alone, making himself the perfect bait. Meanwhile, Holmes, Watson, and Lestrade will be hiding along the path, waiting for the trap to be sprung.
And just as Sir Henry is walking through the fog, it happens. This thing comes bursting out of the mist. It's a huge, terrifying hound that looks like it's on fire, its eyes glowing, its mouth dripping with flames. For a split second, even Holmes and Watson are just frozen by the sheer supernatural horror of it.
But then, reason kicks back in. They open fire, and this demonic beast falls dead. And when they get up close, the trick is revealed. It's a massive, half-starved dog that Stapleton had painted with a phosphorus mixture to make it glow eerily in the dark.
With the Hound dead and Stapleton having fled into the deadly Grimpen Mire, never to be seen again, Holmes can finally explain the whole thing. Every weird clue, every confusing moment, it all slots perfectly into place as part of one man's murderous plan.
And this is where you really see the genius of Holmes's method. Suddenly, it all makes perfect sense. The stolen boot? It was to give the hounds Sir Henry's scent. Beryl's frantic warnings? She was desperately trying to save a life. Selden's death? A tragic mistake. The hound was just tracking the scent on Sir Henry's old clothes. Every single piece of the supernatural puzzle was created by a human hand.
So in the end, the monster of the Baskervilles wasn't some demon from hell. It was a product of human greed and incredible cruelty. Stapleton didn't just use a dog. He weaponized a legend. He used fear itself as the murder weapon, proving that the scariest monsters are always the ones we make ourselves.
And yet, here's the question that kind of lingers, doesn't it? Holmes solved the case with pure logic, but for the people who heard that terrifying howl on the moor, who actually saw that glowing beast come out of the fog, does a rational explanation ever truly erase the memory of that fear? The case is closed, but the shadow of the hound, that sticks around.